Welcome into the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. We are going to be here going over Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. This episode is titled Girls Interrupted. I'm going to keep it a buck. I am fed up with my streaming software, aka StreamYard. So apologies for the going live and then it suddenly ending. But hopefully everybody can hear me now. My husband is saying that I can hear me, the best tech person ever. So I'm hoping the rest of you can, but we're going to get into this episode. Also, for those who are familiar with James being on our channel, I guess he's coming back eventually for Love and Marriage. I cannot say that I will be on his channel for every live that he has because he has so many shows coming back at the same time. But James will be back on YouTube when the Salt Lake City Housewives come on. So I believe that is the 16th of September. So if you subscribe to both of us, I just encourage you to check that out. Other than that, you guys, let's get into this episode. Bambi and Rayface broke up. I feel kind of annoyed because I'm like, who's surprised? And it's not even nothing in terms of like my feelings towards Bambi or nothing, because Bambi in recent times seems to have cooled her hot pocket down, and she seems to be like doing things the way normal people her age would do things. So they broke up, and we see that Zell Swag in Malaysia from Basketball Wives, where Bambi originated. They're there to support her. I don't know. She basically says that Ray flipped out because someone told him that Zell has receipts about Rayface's ex. If you're tripping on your ex that hard while you're with your new person, whether you're married or not, your relationship not gonna last. Because why is your ex so relevant that they could cause this many issues or make you that mad that they're coming up? Like, what happened in that relationship, Mr. Rayface? I'm very curious because your energy doesn't match like what you're claiming was done to you. So I don't quite understand that. But Rayface is saying that Sierra's man Zay, the one who talked like he's slow, he told Rayface that Zell has been spreading rumors about the ex. And honestly, I don't care. Like Bambi, maybe this is, I can't even say it's Bambi's karma because Bambi's karma was how Scrappy ended up and how that went. At this point, I'm going to say do better. Bambi is too big, too old, too grown to not understand certain things about men. Bambi's too old to have thought that her and Rayface were ever going to get married. Bambi gives me the type of female that if you give her a ring, she's going to say yes. That man could have cheated on her or made a baby yesterday, but she'll still say yes if that man gives her a ring. And that's the part for me where I'm just like, okay, Bambi, I'm kind of over you. You date like a teenager. Teenagers make better choices. But the cornballs that raised the killer, allegedly, the Frost, decide to meet with Jasmine Blue, who is their alleged poly or third party to their relationship, which I kind of low-key believe just based on how they handled this conversation. So Jasmine tells Kirk and Rashida about the conversation she had with Andy, which I kind of figured she would, but if your relationship with Kirk and Rashida is just parenting the kids, you didn't need to tell them about this conversation with Andy. You really don't owe them shit, especially if you have your little court situation figured out and all of that. You really just a baby mama and mistress that work in a strip club. Like, I don't get it. Like, I know we saw Jasmine with Rashida's mom and all of that. And I'm over it. Whole storyline is either fake as hell or they're just BSing to try and hide secrets that the rest of us already know. But I do believe everything that Yandy said about the situation. I do not believe Rashida when she made the comment when Jasmine's telling them about everything, like, well, we don't even talk. If you don't talk to somebody like that, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be confident enough to be like, why would she say that when me and you don't even talk? We don't fuck with each other. Like, no. Rashida, you are fooling nobody. I think you do talk to Jasmine. I think y'all did get cool, which makes sense because she has a child with Kirk. But I think they got a little bit too cool, if that makes sense. I'm not going to allege or say anything because I'm not in these people's bedrooms. But if I was with Kirk, I'd be sleeping with whoever else is available myself. Man, woman, pole, stick, cat, dog, whatever it is. I don't want to look at Kirk's ass. I just don't. So Jasmine then makes a comment that she felt manipulated by Yandy, which I thought, she's not the smartest woman. She had a baby with a man who was married. She did it on television, accepted an apartment from that man, knowing his wife wasn't okay with it and then couldn't understand it. So, and she doesn't understand why the rest of us don't respect her. Like, we don't have to down and bully Jasmine, but I'm never going to respect a bitch that move like her, especially when it comes to bringing life into the world. Like, get mad at me all you want, moms. I'm not saying moms and parents don't love their kids, but I think the love for a kid starts before they're even here, and sometimes with how they come into the world. Just saying. But I don't know. The Frost need to realize that whether Yandy is here on this show or not, they are a joke. I don't know who takes them seriously. Prior to Love and Hip Hop coming back and all of that after the pandemic, nobody takes Rashida or Kirk seriously in their relationship. I don't take Rashida seriously even as a businesswoman. I'm sorry, I just don't. Until I see her do something on her own, I just can't say much about them. So I don't know. They seem to be mad at everybody but each other. Yandy and everybody wouldn't be feeling so comfortable to talk about your relationship, even though she hasn't, if your relationship wasn't a fucking joke. Y'all niggas sat in a hot tub on television, had my husband looking at the TV like, isn't that dude married to what the heck? Rashida, like, you have no argument with that. But moving forward, y'all, Bambi, Sierra, and Jessica White meet. I'm tired of Jessica White. She's loony. She's shady. She's the type of woman you got to watch out for. Sometimes the women that talk about how healing they are, how calm and centered, and how much meditation they love, them be the bitches that are the craziest and that really do you dirty. So you got to watch out with hoes like Jessica, especially when she don't eat and all she does is drink wine. She's never in her right mind. Trying to tell y'all, she's never in her right mind. But Bambi tells him of all the drama that's been happening between her and Rayface, and Sierra, because Sierra's been acting funny. And I do kind of like how they pay attention to the fact that, you know, Sierra's off and she is acting funny and things like that. Sierra kind of, like, she just seemed off. And she's always a little off personally. Ever since she put all that stuff in her face, she always looked a little off. But she does break down and she reveals that her doctor has placed her on anti-anxiety medications, PRN. She's also been placed on antidepressants. The reason is because she did expose that she had a miscarriage a couple episodes ago. We're now learning that this is her fourth miscarriage. It seems like she keeps getting pregnant back to back to back to back, but is not able to carry the child to term, which is extremely devastating. Like, one miscarriage is hard enough. I've only had one in my life, thank God, and it was awful. So I can imagine how she would feel having to go through it over and over and over, especially having healthy children that are here, you know. So I do empathize with Sierra for that and appreciate her for sharing it. But she says her husband, though he is supportive, he has the attitude of, like, the way she described it, as if it's a period. He's kind of like, you know, we could just keep trying. Men aren't going to be able to fully understand it. He's trying to be supportive by saying, we could try as much as you want. It just seems like there's a disconnect in how her and Zay are communicating. Like, I understand you're upset, but you need to say to him, I don't want to keep trying. Like, or if she doesn't, because we really don't know what she wants. So I hope Sierra takes some time, gets some therapy, and figures it out, because her behavior just over the last few seasons has indicated that she's not okay fully in her mental health, and that's okay. It's not an attack, and I hope she does get better. I do. But moving forward, Zayn meets with his parents. I don't like Zayn's mama or her invisible eyebrows. She really bothers me. I feel like Zayn's mom is everything wrong with moms, I'm sorry, in the Black culture as it relates to their sons. Your son is not as much as a prize as you'd like to think, lady. And maybe some of the reason he can't get it right with his wife or in his own life is because of you. Because his mama, I just don't like her attitude. So Zayn apologizes on Ashley's behalf to his mom, which I was like, my husband better not ever. If my mother-in-law disrespects me the way that Zayn's mom disrespected Ashley, and I find out he went and apologized on my behalf, don't nobody need to apologize for Mrs. Best. If I'm sorry, you'll hear it. If you don't hear it, I don't give a fuck, and I'm not sorry. So I'm looking at him and I'm kind of like, why are you doing this? You need to stand up to your mama and make her respect your fucking wife. That's what the Bible says. Leave them clean. I'm just saying. Quote my own mother-in-law. That's literally what the Bible says. I don't understand why he insists on letting his mom get away with treating his wife like shit, lying to him about who his real daddy is and was not, and then has a credit card that he's allowing her to spend. Is that why Lil Zayn is so broke that he got to go on Love and Hip Hop? Because the heck? So I'm not feeling his mom. Like, I'm sure she probably offers him a lot of love. It seems like she's a great grandparent. But a bitch that I treat the wife's kids funny or treat any kid funny just because she feel away, I don't trust her. She want to say something about Ashley's parenting, but you're still taking money from your son. Where's your retirement? Where's your, I understand it's okay here and there, but to say to your son's wife, I don't care, you're not going to stop me, I'm going to still have my card. Then have your card, bitch. You don't need to have the money and the card. That's why a lot of people, in my opinion, are single too, just in recent times, to go off on a little rant, because they're too focused on their parents. They're too focused on their family when you're supposed to leave your family to make your own and then still bond and stuff. But you got to go and make your own family and prioritize that. So we shall see with them too. But Zayn's dad irritated me as well, because he was talking about Ashley bringing up the situation with Zayn's brother was not appropriate for her to do because it's a family thing. I'm like, Negro, you're barely family. Now that we know, you are just like Ashley, married into the family. So to say she's not family and it's a family thing was kind of low. She's the closest thing to that man outside of y'all. She is family. So I can definitely see Ashley has a point when she says Zayn's parents and family does not respect her. And I think that he is a big part of the problem, because our families will always do what they want. Like, my mom is a little bit of a psychopath in general, but was just totally mean for no reason to my husband for a long time. I had to make her respect him. You can feel how you want to feel and have your opinions about him, but when you're in front of him, you're going to be respectful and you're not going to cross the boundary. So I feel like Zayn needs to get his parents in check. He definitely needs to do that, and soon. That they have a little moment where Ashley explains why her children went where they went, her childhood. And again, in the words of James, I don't think there's nothing wrong with giving your child to their father. It takes two to make a kid. There are two parents involved in most kids' lives. Why? If she was not financially okay and the baby daddy was, and she didn't want to be with him and he was willing to take his child, why not? That tells me that while Ashley may not be the most stand-up mom, may not be a perfect person, at least when it comes to her kids, she's willing to put her pride aside and allow them to go where they can thrive. I'm not mad at her for it. I'm just not. So I don't know. I think Ashley should keep distance from Zayn's mom. Her apology was not sincere. I didn't know your story. Everybody has a story. And that's why you should treat everybody kind. And if you don't have nothing nice to say to Zayn's mom, then Zayn's mom should just not say anything nice, like anything at all. So I don't know. We'll see. Zayn, what storyline you got other than this? Because I'm tired of Ashley's voice. I'm tired of her in the situation with your family. And I do kind of feel like Zayn and Ashley have one of the rocky, toxic marriages that nobody takes seriously, but they, got married, so you got to respect it. They do give that. Seems like they're figuring it out, like, as they go. So I'll give them that. But Carly Red and Yandy meet up. Carly's opening a new restaurant. I says, that why Atlanta got the worst reputation for food? How y'all in the South and the food ain't good and the service is wrong? Where's the hospitality and the seasoning? Because everybody I know come back from Atlanta talking about it was the nastiest food or they got food poisoning. And I'm like, is it because Atlanta's small and celebrities just opening up restaurants left and right? I'm just wondering. But Sierra comes to this event and Sierra breaks down again. Carly and them were kind of paying attention to stuff like she seemed drunk. And I do think that she was under the influence. But I didn't like that Sierra tried to kind of like blame, like say that Bambi was blaming her and her man for her breakup. I don't think that Bambi was saying that at all. I think just Bambi was asking, like, did Zay say that? Because it seemed like the dudes in the group have their own little relationships and friendships. So I feel like Sierra's just emotional and taking stuff wrong. As someone who works in mental health, I would like to say to everybody, it is never a good idea to drink alcohol or cross and mix substances when you are taking anti-anxiety, PRN, and or antipsychotics, benzodiazepines. It is not smart. Whether you want to admit it or not, you're going to get way turned way fast. So I do, can see why Sierra she probably had some champagne, took a PRN and was still tripping. I really think that shows on reality TV need to bring back some type of a standard. If someone is in this state to where they're this upset and heavily medicated, give her time off from the show. Like, give the girl 2 weeks. She'll still be on the show a lot, but force them to heal. Like, she don't need to be on TV. But Carly reveals after Sierra's meltdown that Jessica went to dinner and posted IG videos with Carly's ex-husband, Tilo, who's the reason that she was in jail and all over the tabloids. And Bambi was involved in this as well. So, they're pretty upset about it, which I can kind of understand. I can understand that. But Carly, you just broke up with him and Atlanta is small. It seems like you guys on this show know the same people in Atlanta. It seems like only a select few, in my opinion, will hang out and be seen with who would be viewed kind of as the more elite versus B, C, and D list celebrities in Atlanta. I feel like Bambi and Jessica gonna go where they go, and it probably wasn't nothing that deep. But Carly, Atlanta's small. You're not with them. These aren't your real friends. Who cares? And a word on the street is Carly Red may be going over to the Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know how that would work. K. Michelle, I can understand because she won't really assault you. Carly, I can understand too, because Carly's the type of bitch that'll throw something in your face but won't actually like hit you. I done seen Carly throw flowers, shoes, forks, inanimate objects, you name it, but she don't really swing on nobody. So maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I'm not sure. But Sierra then tells Yandy in a way that made no sense that she heard a recording of Mendices, and Yandy's like, you're not making any sense. And Sierra, go home to your husband and go to sleep. That's what I'm going to say to Sierra. Now, Zane gets thrown a surprise birthday party, and this is where Ashley surprises him with his biological brother and his wife, which I thought was a nice thing. I know Zane's mom was looking away and trying to act sweet, but it seemed to be a nice gesture. I thought that was kind of Ashley. And she seems to support Zane. And honestly, that's how I am with my husband. His family watch the lives. I say it all the time. I don't care. I'm not concerned about any of them. My concern is also best. And that is it. So I was glad that Ashley did do that for Zane. He seemed touched. And honestly, the brother and the brother's wife looked like their upbringing was a little better than what Zane's mama could provide, is all I'm saying. So maybe it'd be good for him to expose himself around some other people and just kind of be mellow, chill, relax and stop trying to be so extra and whatnot for this show. Now, during the party, Selma Slim, who I'm sick of already, asked Scrappy why his baby mama keep telling people that they sleeping together. And she asked him this as a wife next to her husband in front of Scrap's new girlfriend. Here's the thing. If you know this lady is saying this shit in real time, you know that asking him this shit in front of his girlfriend is going to cause a problem. You were put on because of your husband. We don't know you. We don't. Not yet. And separate from that, every time she's had the opportunity to be in a space with people that she works with, she's messy. It's not cute. Stop, Selma. You're married to someone successful. You have a lot of talent yourself. Why are you questioning the guy who had you perform as something for his label that you're allegedly signed to about him fucking on his baby mama in front of his girlfriend? She know that would be messy, and I understand they're on TV, but Selma Slim seemed like the type of bitch that liked to throw rocks and hide her hands and then wonder why everybody's mad at her. Because she did this with Erica Banks. If someone say they don't want to work with you, they don't want to work with you. And now you have the opportunity to work with her, but you want to bring up that she didn't want to work with you before. If you wanted to work with her before, and now she's working with you now, just accept that she's working with you now instead of bringing up the shit. But instead, she got to be messy. Then she keeps it going, talking about the girls. So I'm looking at Selma Slim like, I don't really care for you. You're just kind of here and occasionally messy. She kind of gives Amy Luciani, who was there, messy, and shit that had nothing to do with her. Like, that's what she's giving, and I'm not impressed. Now, as for Scrappy's girlfriend, you a dumb bitch and you need to leave him. And that's all I have to say. Anybody dating Scrappy going forward, you dumb bitch and you need to leave him. Until this man can show that he can stand on his own 2 feet without a woman having to come behind him in some way. I don't care if he owns a house now. He said his auntie had to help him with that. I don't care if he back on tour and stuff because Spice had helped him get back relevant. I don't like niggas that can't do for themselves. I just don't. And I don't understand why all of these women like it. Because y'all don't realize he's got so much money to cash out on y'all because he's not paying his bills. That's all I'm saying. So, I mean, but hopefully Scrappy's paying his bills now. I will give him some type of grace, but I'm over it. I don't care anymore. Scrappy's storyline is tired. It's the same every season. Different bitch, anger, a baby mama that's still sleeping with him. I don't care. But Carly, Yandy, Bambi, they all meet. And this is where Carly confronts Bambi on, why she was photographed with her ex at his business office. And Bambi explained it in a good way. And I like how Bambi respected the fact, like, I would feel away too. So Bambi explained it. She was like, we went to the meeting. I didn't know he was going to be there like that because it was his business partner, but we never did no business and it didn't go no further than that. And Carly, I feel like should know that because celebrities just be like, they be photographed just wherever all the time. Like, with anybody. People just be clout chasing and things of that nature. So I'm kind of like, it's not a big deal. I was happy that they were able to move past it. But Carly said in a confessional something that's a fact. Bambi is always found to be with somebody's man, ex, or something like that. Not a good look. And I think because of Bambi's history, it's hard to look at it as something innocent when she ends up in those situations. But I really think Bambi might be delivered from being a side chick. I really do. I do. I think Malaysia's taking on that role for her now. But Jasmine Blue's whole ass pulls up because she wants to talk to Yandy. And Jasmine tells Yandy that Mendices is too friendly and says that he had his hands around Jasmine and her homegirl's hips in the strip club. Maybe because you got cool with his wife and he thought it was good. But okay, I'm not saying Mendices is not doing stuff. But I kind of felt Yandy and I'm on Yandy's side because you did exactly what Yandy said. Did they put you up to saying this about my husband? Now you coming back saying Mendices was back in the club with his hands around your hip? Why would he put his hands around your waist after being accused and called out by you in that club? Why would he even go back there? It ain't like the bitch worked for Magic City. So I can't understand why he would go back there. He just don't seem like he would move like that. Separately from that, you was cool after y'all conversation. Like Jasmine did look a little bothered by it. But it also looked like Jasmine wanted to expose Kirk and Rashida for something. So I'm not going to allege and assume what the truth could be, but Yandy is spot on. A bitch like Jasmine who's dumb enough to spread her legs to a married man who's on television and is constantly begging him for money, had a Tesla from the next nigga and all this other stuff. A bitch that moves like her is not smart enough to pay attention to every little piece of everything. Also, fun fact, Yandy went to college, Jasmine. Everybody who went to college, whether community college, trade school, whatever the hell, you learn things like critical thinking, critical thought before you respond. So I don't think Jasmine has that, but Yandy has been doing that for a long time. And it does seem like Jasmine went to the Frost, had that conversation with them, and they were probably like, you need to go back and tell her this so she knows. And Jasmine's dumbass did it. And she knows that. So I'm looking and I'm like, girl, bye. You had the opportunity to come back at Yandy and you didn't. Now you want to come and say some shit. Goodbye, Miss Blue. Goodbye. So Carly moves on to talk to Jessica about Jessica taking pics as the ex with her ex-husband. the same way that she talked to Bambi. And Jessica had an attitude from jump, nasty bitch. And she said she arrived for the interview. And Carly asked Jessica, okay, well, if you didn't mean no harm and didn't do business with them, then how come you didn't let me know? Jessica said she didn't let Carly know because they weren't cool at the time and that shouldn't affect her. But when y'all did get cool, you should have said, like, I ran into your ex. That would be the appropriate thing to do if you take the friendship seriously. But personally, I don't even feel like Carly did shit to Jessica. I feel like Jessica is that friend that'll get tired of you or mad at you for defending your man or staying with your man after complaining. And I also feel like Jessica was being a raggedy ass follower when she got mad at Carly. She don't have no real reason to be mad at her. She just don't. Never has, and she has an attitude. So, in my opinion, Jessica saying that shouldn't affect you. That's condescending. That's passive aggressive, and it's not respectful. She could have responded the same way that Bambi responded. But Jessica's never been a wife. She's a bitch who was one of 12 other bitches having babies with Nick Cannon. So she don't see the value in herself, which we could tell because every time we see her, we see more of her bones. So we're going to leave Jessica alone. But Jasmine has the audacity, because her and Jessica are becoming friends, because side chicks and mistresses, they unite. Jasmine has the audacity to ask Carly if she gave a fuck about Jasmine's friend being pregnant when Carly got with her husband, who was the ex of the pregnant friend. And girl, you don't want to question anybody about cheating. That's the thing. Jasmine, you have to understand, when you a hoe that wasn't even turned into a housewife, that had her Tesla taken away because you can't do shit for yourself, living with your mama, from what they all say, you don't get to comment, my friend was pregnant and you took her man. Yeah, Rashida had just given birth after being cheated on publicly for years and years, and you tried to take hers and had a baby with him, and it was disrespectful towards her. So be quiet, Jasmine. And I was happy that Carly came back at her and clocked it and read her for filth, and that's what Jasmine needed. And of course, Jessica's going to be like, oh my God. No, because there's a difference between a woman and a hoe. There's a difference between a lady and a bitch. There's a difference between a woman that knows how to be promiscuous without doing it in a messy way, and a bitch like Jasmine, a stripper hoe. There is a difference between it. And if y'all don't like it, y'all don't like it. Because it is the easiest thing for me to go to Garden of Eden in San Francisco, the Brass Well in San Jose. It would be the easiest thing to tie up my hair, put on some lashes and some makeup, get butt ass naked, and pop it a little bit on a pole. I could probably make a lot of money. So yeah, you're less respected than the woman who chooses to get up, get out there, and go work, not even being about education. You're going to be less respected doing that, because there's a lot of people that are struggling and could have turned to stripping, but still didn't. So Jasmine, miss us with that bullshit. Jessica, miss us with that bullshit, because it's an insult to the women who go through the struggle for a long ass time to avoid that. So stop. Taking the easy way out will never be respected fully. Now, if it's what you love to do, fine. But no, absolutely not. No. So I was glad Carly read her for filth. She reminded her, you only relevant for having a baby with Rashida and Kirk. And got up and left. Now, Yandy calls out Jessica after all of that, because Jasmine knew she had nothing after that, and Jessica didn't either. But Yandy calls out Jessica too. She's like, I found it interesting. A bitch like you was in tears because you were so worried and concerned and care about me. But then in the next second, when I watched the season back, you talking shit about my relationship and making fun of me. How you care about what my man is doing and feel bad for me while you making fun of me all in the next, sentence. And Jessica says that she got upset because he made Yandy take the fall. And Yandy said when we was all thinking, Jessica, what the fuck does that have to do with you? You don't know her. You don't know him. Why are you so triggered by her having to take the fall with her husband? When you came on here and you can't even say much. You can't even say Nick Cannon. Hell, the bitch can barely say Nickelodeon on this show without getting in some type of trouble. She can't even talk about her relationship with him the way she would want to. But you weren't even married to him. Got nothing out of it. Not a baby, not a check, not shit. But you want to go and be in somebody else's business? Stop it, Jessica. Especially some people that have kids. I don't. And then Jessica, when Yandy pulls up and is like, well, that's not for you to care about. That's not your business. And I wish Jessica would have just admitted, like, yeah, I was wrong to go and talk about that. But Jessica was like, well, my niece was brought into this. And Yandy reminded her, bitch, you brought your own niece into this. Nobody knew that your niece was somebody that my husband talked to until you said it, Miss Jessica. So I'm looking at Jessica like, you did bring your niece on national television as a girl who was allegedly talking to a man that's in a very public relationship. Like, you brought her into this. And we don't care about her. She was a pretty girl. We wish her the best, but we don't care about her. And your niece talking to Mendices is not as big of a deal as your friend Jasmine talking to Kirk. Because at least Mendices and Yandy ain't legally married. And I don't know why people act like, come on, we can't. They're not married. They're not. If Yandy goes to the hospital because she's hit by a bus, unless she has an advance directive or living will on file, Mendices has no fucking say so. They're not married. And yes, stuff like that matters. So I'm irritated with all of these people because Yandy, for the first time ever in Love Pop history, is carrying a season. But I am curious to see Yandy and Rashida talk because I've seen some clips online for the next episode, and I know Rashida tries to make it seem like she gave Yandy a job. I'd like to remind everybody before you watch the next episode, if you're watching me, she's an executive producer and a co-creator of the show. Fun fact, she was Mona Scott's mentor. So, or mentoree, however the fuck the term goes. So yeah, Rashida saying that is funny. I'd also like to remind people that Love and Hip Hop New York was on television for a couple of seasons before Love and Hip Hop Atlanta came on television. And Yandy joined Love and Hip Hop New York in the second season of it. And we saw some of her in the first season of it as well, because she was the manager for Jim Jones. So Rashida, any argument you try to say about you giving Yandy a job, baby, she's part of why you have a check, because Bubblegum was not doing anything until TikTok. And a lot of these TikTok songs ain't all of that. So that is pretty much my take on this episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Let me know if you guys agree or feel differently. Everyone's opinion is welcome on this channel. I will be back again later this week to go over Love and Hip Hop Atlanta's next episode. I'm going to head into doing the Housewives of Miami next because I am behind with my lives. But peace, love, and good energy to all of you. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you for the next live.